ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. So welcome to our Saturday morning session. Today we will look at the second part of second Mundak, the last mantras, 8, 9, 10 and 11, 4 mantras. Now, so far we have seen, it has been told that super consciousness or Brahma or Akshar is actually living in Guhachar, in everybody's heart. And we can search inside our own self and we can connect that Guhachar with the what we call Chiddakas, with Parmeshwar, with Paramatma in the universe. And that we can do by using the bow of Om and arrow of Atma and Man. We can do that. And then it was explained that every part of our body is actually connected to that consciousness in Guhachar, like the axis of a wheel is connected to all sides, and as soon as the axis is unstable, the whole wheel crumbles down. Similarly, as soon as the consciousness sitting in Guhachar leaves the whole body crumbles down. So all parts of the body, whether they are senses, eyes, ears, nose, or even the organs and all other organs of action, they are all connected to Guhachar through a very what you call Nadi Tantra, a very widely spread over Nadi Tantra. So this is how it is. And then we saw that the mantra of Om is the one which has been suggested in this Upanishad to connect first to that Guhachar and then to the Supreme. Now we will go what happens once you use that bow and arrow and you understand all this, parts of the, entire mechanism. Then what happens? So this is what the, mantra number 8 will tell us. It says, Vidyate hridaya granthishchiddante sarva sansaya shiyante vashya karmani tasmin draste paravare. Tasmin draste paravare. Paravare is what? Paravare is the supreme in both the forms, para and avar. Para is akshar, avar is the manifest form. So once you see that supreme both in the non-manifest and manifest forms, then what happens? Because we saw that this has been explained in the previous mantras, that the Supreme is existing both in Akshar form without any qualities and also in the entire universe which is full of qualities. So the entire physical universe which is manifest part and the entire Akshar which is non-manifest part, if we understand that, then what happens? Then vidyate hridaya granthi. Then हृदय की ग्रंथि खुल जाती है, आपको पता लग जाता है. What is that हृदय की ग्रंथि? Now this is very fascinating side. हृदय की ग्रंथि क्या खुलता है? What is there in हृदय की ग्रंथि? What is that knot which keeps us in delusion? That note is the note between the consciousness, the Chaitanya, and our body, which is made of five great elements, Panch Tattva. Now, Panch Tattva is basically Jad, and Chaitanya is consciousness. This is the combination in our body. The combination of the Panch Tattva and the Chaitanya makes us generally feel that I am the body. This is what everybody normally feels. We celebrate our birthdays, we celebrate the death, we think we were born on that particular day, we died on that particular day. We also, whenever, like I am hungry, so I feel I am hungry, not my stomach, but I am hungry. I am speaking, I am talking. So that I and the body, they are so much intertwined that it becomes difficult to differentiate between the two. And that is the granthi, that is the gant, that is the knot, which has been there for ages. The distinction between the Panch Mahabhut made body and the consciousness, the Chaitanya, gets completely diluted. It's not even known to most people. And that is the Granthi. But once you understand this Tantra, which was mentioned in the previous mantras, that every part of the body is connected to the axis in Guhachar, the consciousness, and the Guhachar is the one which governs everything, then we start realizing that consciousness is separate and the body made of Panch Tattva is separate. Now let's take an example of a fan. Now, somebody who has not put on the fan ever or put it off, and the fan is running constantly because the electricity supply is there. So he would not realize, he would feel that the fan is something like this. He would never realize that the fan is running because of the electric power, because he has never put it on, never put it off. He has not seen that process ever. And that is what happens with us, that we have seen this body all the time enmeshed with consciousness. And we have not seen the two separately, because once we die, our consciousness is separate, body is separate, so we do not see them separately in our living form. And that is why this confusion arises, and that is what the note of heart is. Hridaya ki granthi is this one. That once we realize that consciousness is separate, the body made of five elements is separate, then this knot is resolved. Then this knot does not exist anymore. The coexistence of the two is so integrated in our thought process that we do not feel them separate ever. And that is why this granthi becomes noted. It is, the heart is noted with this kind of process. So once we are able to unnote it, then things will change. So then everything clears up. Then what it says, once you have distinguished between the two, the Chaitanya and the body, the Sharir, the Panch Tattva constituting the body, which is Jad element, and consciousness constituting the Chaitanya, the active element, then everything else falls in place. So now it says, Sarva Sansaya. Now, Sansaya means all the doubts. After that, all the doubts automatically unravels. Then there are no doubts left. Doubts, there are many doubts in our mind all the time. First of all, we have a doubt that how I came into existence. We see how this universe came into existence. Who made this universe? If somebody made it, who made the person who made it? There are, how it is regulated. There's such a huge, complex system of galaxies and stars and satellites and solar systems and human beings and other species of life, oceans, mountains, how this is managed. All that, these are all doubts. We keep raising these doubts. We even doubt that if there's any force regulating it or it's regulating on its own. All these doubts come in our mind. The doubt also come, what happens to me after my death? Where was I before my, birth? All these doubts then disappear. They disappear because we realize that the five great elements make my body and senses and mind and intellect. And that machinery is run by the Chaitanya, it's run by the consciousness. And that consciousness is connected through that axis to all these body parts. Then we realize that this is how the entire Srishti Chakra, entire chakra of the universe operates. And then all our doubts starts disappearing one by one. So this is very, very important. Then Shiyante Chasya Karmani. Then what happens after that? That all our karma, they slowly, they are lost, they are burnt. क्षय हो जाता है, क्षयन्ते, क्षय हो जाता है कर्मों का. They are no longer in existence. And therefore, whatever we do, our actions do not create reactions. The karma do not create a seed anymore. The seed stops forming once we realize all this. Then we realize that this is all, the entire process operates like this. And therefore, whatever we do in this life is more like a lila. It is not actually a karma. And then we do not create new seeds. So what we call the sanchit karmas stop. And what remains is that prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma is the karma which we brought at the time of our birth. And prarabdha karma have to be destroyed with bhog. Unko bhog karke khatam karna padta hai. So we pass through that process of bhog, but we do not create any new sanchit karma in this life, and therefore there is no seed which remains afterwards. Once the karmas are completely destroyed, then there is no seed and there is no rebirth. Then we become one with the Supreme. So this is what happens. So tasmin draste paravare. Once we see that the the Nirgun Paramatma or the Akshar, as well as the manifest Paramatma, the universe, once we are able to realize these two, and once we realize the mechanism of our body system, body and Chaitanya, how they are connected, how they operate, then that note of the heart is unnoted. And then we are able to understand how the universe functions. All our doubt disappears, and all the karmas do not create new seed. Like a person who knows how to connect and reconnect the fan, then he understands that there is electricity which has to be circulated to the fan to make it operational, and we don't want to make it operational, the electricity is disconnected. And then this is how the fan operates. So this is how the universe operates. The consciousness circulates in this universe to make it operational. And that is how the body is also made operational through that consciousness. That is like, it is a rough example because consciousness and current are not the same thing, but just a rough example to explain. Because consciousness is far, far more powerful and more, impactful than the current of the electricity. But this is a rough example to explain it. So basically the Chaitanya, the consciousness, the Akshar, that is the one which empowers the entire universe. which empowers our bodies, which empowers all other species of life, which also empowers the Panch Tattvas. That is how the water cycle moves, the air cycle moves, the sun moves in the sky, the all the stars and the moon, they all rotate in the sky. All this is because of that power of Akshar. So this is what this mantra number 8 is. That once we are able to resolve this problem, then everything automatically gets resolved and the new karmas do not create any new seed for us. Then the next 9. Hiranyamay pare koshe virjam brahm niskalm tachumbra jyotishyam jyotist tadatmano vida vidu. Now, Hiranyamay koshe. Kosh means something which is, like you take the example of a myan and a talwar, the shell of the sword. Now, once you put the talwar into the myan, you do not see the talwar, but you only see the myan. We don't know whether the talwar is inside or not. Similarly, course is the one which is like a packaging, which creates the packaging. Now we have like Annamaya course. Annamaya course is that we get this Ann in the body, and it is hidden in that course. And we have Pranamaya course, the pranic energy is hidden in that course. Manomaya course, the man is hidden in that course. Vijnanamaya course, the intellect is hidden in that course. Similarly, the Hiranyamaya course. Hiranyamaya course is that course where a self-illuminating light is hidden. Like when the sun comes out very brightly, you cannot hide from it. You don't have to notice, it will automatically, you will feel it, the sun is bright. So when the Hiranyamaya course is so illuminating that it automatically makes its impact on the entire universe. So it says that is the kind of illumination which you feel once you pass through this whole process. The Hiranyamaya course automatically starts impacting on you, and you feel its existence. And Hiranyamaya course is the point where the Supreme is hiding itself or himself or herself, whatever you may call it. Tat is the best way. So, but that course is what? Virjam. Virjam is completely nirmal, without any impurities at all. No impurities. Niskalm means without any qualities. Absolutely no qualities of any nature. Avyav Rahit, that is what the correct meaning is. Avyav Rahit. And then that is Subram. Subram means all the time. Subram, Hamesha, all the time. Tat is all the time reference to the Supreme. We have seen that in Bhagavad Gita also. There are 3 names. Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat, these are the 3 names of Paramatma, which was explained by Lord Krishna in chapter 17. So Tat is always reference to the Supreme. Om is also reference to the Supreme. Sat is also reference to that Akshar, that power, that Supreme. And then Jyotisam, that is all the time illuminating, self-illuminating. When we have a room, for example, in the night you enter in a room. Now there's darkness all around. You don't see anything at all. But as soon as you put on the light, the entire darkness disappears and you are able to see everything. But imagine if something is self-illuminating constantly all the time, then there's no darkness. Then obviously there's no avidya. All the time you are full of knowledge. Your jnana, your vidya is complete if that kind of illumination is seen. So that is the reference here, that a person, Atma Jnani, that is Atmavid. Atmavid person, the person who has realized himself in the way it has been described in previous mantras, then for him, the self-illuminated Hiranyagarbha is constantly visible to him. He also sees that that is nirmal, that is without any impurities, that is without any, qualities, avyavrahit, and that is all the time constantly giving enlightenment, giving light. And then there's obviously all the avidya, all the darkness disappears because of that. So this is what is another quality, another way of referring to the same thing which was mentioned in mantra number 8, that a person who has realized himself, Atmavid, then he is becoming like a Hiranyamaya course. He becomes like a Hiranyamaya course. And he has no impurities left. He has no qualities left. He is all the time illumining and also illuminating wherever he goes. So this is the quality of a person who has realized himself through this process as explained in Mundaka Upanishad. And then we go to mantra number 10, and this mantra appears in so many Upanishads. And this mantra is also indirectly in Bhagavad Gita. Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam, na tatra suryo bhati. There is no sun is, illumining there. Na chandrama, tarak, तारागण भी नहीं है, चंद्रमा भी नहीं है. न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम नेमा विद्युतो भांति कुतो अयम मंगनी. जहां पे विद्युत भी नहीं है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी भी नहीं है और अग्नि भी नहीं है, कोई अग्नि भी नहीं है. सो न तो वहां सूर्य प्रकाशित होता है, द सन इज नॉट शाइनिंग देयर, the moon is not there, moon is not shining there. All the stars which we see, they are not there. The electricity is not there. And the fire is not there. And what is there? Tam bhantam ev. Ev means alone, he, that is he. Tam bhantam ev. एक ही चीज वहां प्रकाशित होती है. सर्वम अनुभूति tasya bhasa idam sarvam vibhati. That Hiranyagarbha light, that light is all the time illumining there. That is the only light which is the source of everything else. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said that I am the sun and I am the moon and I am the earth. Similarly here, that light which was described in Hiranyagarbha in the last Hiranyagarbha course in the last mantra, that light is the only light which is illuminating or which is self-illuminating all the time, and no other light of any nature, whether from the sun or whether from the moon or stars or electricity or from Agni, is visible there at all. So basically, once you realize the self, Atmavid, once you have become knowledgeable about your own self, then you start feeling that light which is self-illumining itself all the time, constantly, and there's no need of any other light anywhere in this universe. So this is what it says, and this is the sign of a person who has acquired real self-knowledge, who has realized himself, who have connected himself with the inner self, inner Chaitanya, and Chaitanya has become one with the universal Chaitanya universal consciousness. So this is what the quality of that person is. And then we come to the last mantra of second Mundak, second part. So it says, Idam Amritam Brahma Ev Purstat. Idam Amritam. This is Amrit. The Amrit Swarupa. This is something like Amrit. That you don't die, you don't take birth, you are, eternal. You always existed, you will always exist. And then it's very fascinating here. Brahma Ved Amritam Purusta Brahma Paschat Brahma Dakshinat Uttarayan Brahma. That is, पीछे भी ब्रह्म है, आगे भी ब्रह्म है, दक्षिण में भी ब्रह्म है, उत्तर में भी ब्रह्म है, बाईं ओर भी ब्रह्म है, दाईं ओर भी ब्रह्म है, ऊपर भी ब्रह्म है, अध अर्धवास प्रस्तम ब्रह्म वेद विश्वमिदम वरिष्ठम. Then you see Brahma everywhere. Basically, it means that in front of you there is Brahma, behind you is Brahma, on your left is Brahma, on your right is Brahma, on top is Brahma, on the bottom is Brahma, and whatever space in between there is Brahma. Then you start realizing that this whole universe is full of that Akshar Tattva, full of that Paramatma Tattva, full of that Brahma Tattva, whatever name we give. Basically, that is the truth, that is the Sat. And he is pervading the entire universe. As we said in Ishavasya Upanishad, Ishavasya Midam Sarvam Jagatyam Jagat. That ईसा का निवास सब जगह है. वो जड़ जगत में भी है, चेतन जगत में भी है, और उनके बीच में जो भी कोई स्पेस है सब जगह. यत्तिंच जगत्याम जगत. यत्तिंच मीन्स whatever space is there, anywhere, whatever you can conceive of, everywhere Isa is dominating, Isa is pervading. So this is the meaning here of this very beautiful mantra, that the last part is Vishwamidam, Brahma Vedam Vishwamidam, that the entire Vishwa, entire universe is full of Brahma, is nothing but Brahma. Like Lord Krishna said that in ice there is nothing but water. Similarly, in this universe there is nothing but Brahma. So that Akshar is pervading everywhere. That is the feeling one gets once you realize your own self. The way it has been described in mantras 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, then what the impact would be, which has been described in mantra number 8, 9, 10, and 11. So this is what Mundaka Upanishad is, that once we are able to unnote the granthi in our heart that we are body, and the integration of body and consciousness is so integrated that we cannot distinguish between the two. That is the real problem. Once we are able to distinguish the consciousness from the body made of Panch Tattva, then the whole puzzle is solved, whole puzzle is resolved. And then what happens? What happens is very clear, that all your doubts are cleared, all your karmas are destroyed, you become completely virjam, nirmal, you become without any qualities, niskalma, and you become atmavid, and you start feeling that hiranyamaya course inside you, all around you. And then obviously it talks about that everything is then becomes self-illuminating. There's no need of sun or moon or stars or Agni or Vidyut, all that is not needed, because these things are needed to illuminate something. You need electricity to remove the darkness. You need sun to remove the darkness. You need moon to remove the darkness. When there's no darkness at all the time, self-illuminating process comes into being. There's nothing to be removed. And that process is the one which has been mentioned in mantra number 10 and in mantra number 11, that you see the Brahma in your in front of you, behind you, left of you, right of you, north of you, and bottom of you, and everywhere in entire Vishwamidam, in the entire universe, you see nothing but Brahman. So with these wonderful words, we conclude this second part of second Mundak. Thank you very much for your patience, and if you have any queries, we will try to discuss them. Thank you.